What up, fam? It's Chief X, the God Best reincarnated, with some more of this common sense science. So today we're talking about the subject of more, what a more is. Not what it means, not the etymology, but what is a more. And how Ivan Van Sertima, Runoko Rashidi, and later Sara Suten Seti got it wrong. Now, Trip, this says Morocco is the only African country that is not currently a member of the African Union. However, it is a member of the Arab League at present, Arab Maghreb Union, the Francophone Organization of Islamic Conference, Mediterranean Dialogue Group, and blase, blase, blase. Okay? Now, I'm not sure if it's the only country in Africa that is not part of the African Union, but let's just go with this narrative, okay? Now, I'm taking this little brief presentation from a lecture Sara Suten Seti did, okay? And just want to make some corrections to what he said.
Before that, it had been ruled by the Nile Valley Africans. It had been ruled by the
Now, Seti said, he was speaking of Morocco, a lot of things he got right. But who he relates the Moors to said he got dead wrong because he's not a master researcher. He's an entertainer. But a lot of this information he got right, according about Islam coming to Africa, during the Arab slave trade, I guess beginning, let's just say 700, where it was basically late 600s when Islam started and began the Arab slave trade. But no, Nile Valley Africans did not rule or inhabit this northwest part of Africa. The tip right here, that's Spain in the brown, that's Spain. This is Africa. You can kind of like swim across this tip. They're damn near touching each other, okay? Nile Valley Africans never ruled that. Sara Suten Seti got it wrong. So this whole lecture, a lot of it is based off a false premise, equating the Moors to Africans, okay? And let's go on into this.
Carthaginians.
Oh, by the way, the area was occupied prior to Moors, which comprised of Arabs and Berbers, not Africans. Africans weren't Moors. African Americans have nothing to do with Moorish history, Moorish culture, Morocco, or Spain. Okay, let's just make that clear. When you hear the word Moors, get it out your head that they're talking about you. When you hear the word Moors, historically, they're talking about Arabs and Berbers or any Muslim in North America. Okay, but this area was inhabited prior to the Moors invading and conquering Spain, the Iberian Peninsula. It was inhabited and ruled by Roman provinces. Vandals, Visigoths, okay? Never Africans, not West Africans, not East Africans, not South Africans. Okay, let's move on to, here's where the meat of the discussion begins. Okay?
Of freebooters, a state of anarchy.
Now, Sara Suten Seti is giving this lecture, but I'm using his lecture to make a point to show how we got miseducated. First of all, before I go here, let me just give you the definition of what a Moor is. A Moor, a member of a northwestern, as I say, northwestern, a member of northwestern African Muslim people of mixed what? Of mixed Berber and Arab descent, not African descent. Now you have countries in Africa like Algeria, in Morocco that was really never populated by what we consider black Africans. Okay? So a Moor is what? A member of northwestern African Muslim people of mixed Berber and Arab descent. Not black Africans. Okay? So we got that clear. Now back to this. He quotes some of our master teachers, including John Jackson, Ivan Van Sertima, John Jackson, John Henry Clark, Ivan Van Sertima, and Runoko Rashidi. John Henry Clark, out of all of them, the only one who got it right, because I've never known him to lie and make many mistakes. Ivan Van Sertima and Runoko Rashidi has been known to make many mistakes, and hasn't been. I'm not gonna go there, but they've made many mistakes, including some of these quotes.
Prevailed, the University of Askari, which has stood for over 500 years, was destroyed, and the facility exiled to Morocco. Who destroyed Timbuktu? Who destroyed the University of Askari? The Moors. What year? 1591.
Okay, now when he says the Moors, he is referring to what people think are black Africans. But it's talking about Morocco, because the Moors were Arab Berbers. Morocco was made up of Arab and Berber people. Never West Africans, East Africans, or South Africans. Those are Arab and Berber people, as I showed you earlier, the definition of a Moor. Okay? So when Ghana and Songhai, these places were sacked and destroyed and tampered with, it was the Moors, the Arabs and Berbers. Okay?
Let's move on. In one of a number of holy wars or jihads, Ghana was invaded by the Almoravids under the leadership of Abu Bakr of the Soso Empire in 1076 AD. The conquest brought an end to Ghana's age of prosperity and cultural development. The character of the country was slow to change. Who destroyed Ghana? The Moors.
An Arab writer wrote this. Okay?
In what year? 1076 AD. Let's move on. Then when the Arabs and Moors were expelled from Spain...
Now, this writing is from a book from John Henry Clark. John Henry Clark got it correct. He was on point. He said clearly, then when the Arabs and Moors, he's just equating the name, okay, were expelled from Spain. The Arabs and Moors. Basically the Arabs and Berbers. Or anyone considered Muslim in Northwest Africa, who was running shit, which was the Arabs.
They returned to Africa after being the masters of the Mediterranean for 750 years. They had no sentimental attachment to Africa. They began to prey on nations south of the Sahara, principally the old empire of Sarkay. From the Grand Master, Dr. John Henry Clark.
John Henry Clark got it correct.
So now we done heard from George G. M. James, Dr. Yosef Ben Yakinan, Dr. John Henry Clark. Now let's move into...
Now, here's where Ivan Van Sertima and Runoko Rashidi come in, and they get it wrong. This is a book, Golden Age of the Moor, written by Ivan Van Sertima. But admittedly, I haven't read this particular book. But I'm familiar with the ideology and what folks have said about it. And people are equating the Moor with the African or black folk, which is incorrect. Now, Ivan and Runoko Rashidi got it wrong. I don't know if they intentionally got it wrong or it was just a naive mistake or what the deal was, but you come to that conclusion on your own.
Ivan Van Sertima, the golden age of the Moor. And in there, we gonna deal with literature from John G. Jackson. The Moors were...
Mind you, although he says John G. Jackson, compiled with an appendix by Runoko Rashidi. Runoko Rashidi had a lot to do with the compiling of some of this stuff. But be that as it may, listen, he got it wrong.
People who lived in Morocco. That's the reason they called it that. The word Moor means black. It means black. And these niggas talk about that.
Now, this is where the twist comes. When you're talking about who a people is, they tricked you or you got mind fucked. They're not asking about what Seti is saying and reading. He's describing the etymology or the meaning of the word Moor. Not who is a Moor, but the etymology of the word Moor, which basically means dark or Negro, which is just a word for black or dark. Let's just go ahead. We can just hear.
That black means death, but yet and still the word Moor itself means black. It meant black people.
So because the word etymology means dark, Negro, or black, that doesn't mean that's who the people are who are called Moors. Do you understand what I'm saying? Etymology of the word does not tell you who the people are. It's a switch and bait.
In ancient times, all Africans were called Ethiopians or Kushites. In ancient times, all Africans were called Ethiopians or Kushites. And in the Middle Ages, the Africans were called Moors.
That's not true. That is not true at all. The Africans were never called Moors. Only Muslims in Northwest Africa, which is Morocco and Algeria, were called Moors, and those were Berbers and Arabs.
In the Middle Ages, the Africans were called Moors. And the word Moor literally means black. So
now, he's back. That's the meaning or the etymology of the word has nothing to do with who a Moor is. You're defining what the word means etymologically, if that's a word.
The Moorish people were the black people. In medieval times...
That's a false equivalency. That's the trick. So when Runoko Rashidi and Ivan Van Sertima got to talking about what the etymology of the word means, they flipped it and also taught that's who the people were.
The name Moor was not restricted to the inhabitants of Morocco, but it was customary to refer to all Africans as Moor.
Not true, not true.
This is from John G. Jackson. He clearly lets you know that the word Moor means black, and it was used during the Middle Ages. It wasn't nothing but another word that the cracker used that meant nigger.
That's not true either. It just means dark. They basically, it also, you have to understand the meaning of the word means different things at different time periods in chronology. When it started with the Romans, what they meant is what is different than what people in Northwest Africa meant. Okay? It gets complicated. So Europeans or whites or Romans who use the word Moor basically just meant dark or black. Or basically, you're darker than me. Whether you're light brown, pitch black or whatever, you're darker than me.
That's all it was. It is a middle-aged word for nigger. It means black. Let's go on. This is from Runoko Rashidi. The more...
This is from actually Ivan Van Sertima. But Ivan Van Sertima, Runoko Rashidi is Ivan Van Sertima's student. They're a clique. Runoko Rashidi and Ivan Van Sertima are together. They think and they have taught the same. They're the ones who miseducated us on certain serious points that got the entire conscious community thinking Moors are black people. It's because of Ivan Van Sertima and Runoko Rashidi. And later on, Sara Suten Seti.
According to the Oxford English Dictionary, are people who are commonly supposed to be black or very dark, and it is synonymous with the word Negro in many contexts.
Now that's totally wrong. Either Ivan Van Sertima or Runoko Rashidi lied, because, let me show you why. Here is the Oxford Dictionary. Okay? And they don't say nothing like that. They also give the definition, a member of a Northwestern African Muslim people of mixed Berber and Arab descent. That's what the Oxford Dictionary says. Okay? It just goes a little more deeper. North African Berber is what a Moor is. And it gives you another definition and breakdown. Being a dark people in relation to Europeans. It doesn't mean that they're African. And the word Negro means black. Okay? So, is this the Oxford? Yeah, this is the Oxford. I don't know where he's saying Runoko or Ivan Van Sertima, whoever said it, but I think this is Ivan Van Sertima's book. That's not what it says in the Oxford English Dictionary. You can go look that up for yourself. Either that's a mistake or an intentional lie. I hope it's a mistake.
Rashidi and Brunson provides numerous examples of the synonymy of Moors with black during the European Renaissance and early. The word runs like a ripple across a vast pool of languages.
That's called using hyperbole, exaggeration, and hype. Entertaining. Making it seem like just the word was just rippling across, all kind of languages, and then everybody knew who a Moor was. No, that's hype. The world knows a Moor to be an Arab or Berber. An Arab or Berber Muslim. The only people on the planet who thinks a Moor is an African or a black people is people in the conscious community, Afrocentric community. And then they taught it to regular black folk, like regular black Christians. Now black Christians is thinking that. If everybody's been miseducated by Van Sertima and Runoko Rashidi on this specific thing. Now I'm not saying anything wrong with all due respect to Van Sertima and Runoko Rashidi, but I'm just saying they got this point wrong.
The Oxford English Dictionary. Rashidi and Brunson. Runoko Rashidi says the word is synonymous with black during the European Renaissance, the Middle Ages, and the word runs like a ripple across a vast pool of languages. So now we heard from George G.M. James, Dr. Ben,
Dr. Clark and Ben is right. They didn't. Don't put them in that boat. They didn't start that twist. Runoko Rashidi and Ivan did.
Clark, Ivan Van Sertima.
Now, bear with me. Bear with me 1 second, fam.
Treaties
Okay.
with these crackers at the same time raping our women, our mothers and our foremothers and our sisters and our babies. The same cracker that's raping our women, our babies and the men, they signing treaties with.
Now, this is King Leopold of Italy. This is, the other guy is, excuse me, I'm sorry. This is Leopold of Italy. This is, I got it wrong again, I'm sorry. This is Mussolini of Italy. And this is Leopold of the Belgium. They were conquering Central and East Africa, right? Right? And as their soldiers, they use what they call the Askari. Hold on. This thing is slow. The Askari. And the Askari is the one who wear fezzes, not Moors. Sara Suten Seti got that wrong. Look. Belgian, Leopold's area. Colonial Askari. Corporal Force of the Congo. Belgian Congo. He's an Askari. Who's the Askari? Askari is the police or military. They were Africans who fought in the military for colonial powers, for European white folk powers. Okay? And that's what it is. The combined military and police force. That's why you see them lined up. These are the Askari. They also call them King's African Rifles. Soldiers of the King's African Rifles at the coronation of Edward in 1902. You see the fezzes and the tassel hanging? Those are the Askari. Those are not Moors. They're the Askari. They have nothing to do with Morocco. They're in East and Central Africa, across the whole damn continent. They have nothing to do with Morocco. Sara Suten Seti got that wrong. The Askari is the police. An Askari spear bearer, guard. These are the police, family. The Askari. When you see these pictures, those are Askari. They're not Moors. They have nothing to do with Morocco. Look, another one. They got a statue of one of an Askari. What is it thing? Look, Askari monument in Tanzania. That's Central Africa. East Africa. That's the Askari. Anybody you see with any Africans in ancient times, you see with not really ancient. And back in history, you see with a fez, those are the Askari. They're not Moors. See how the conscious community got shit fucked up and wrong? Huh?